Hi, friends. Hello, the world. Welcome back to this episode of Tools for Transitioning Humanitarians. And I'm recording this in advance of the actual airtime because I have some big events happening this week. So that's why it's also going to be a bit short. And it's also going to be concise, but with so much value that I really hope that you can use it because I've been thinking a lot about this concept that I am also talking to some of my clients about, and the concept of having this approach of it is done to everything that we do. So let me give you an example so that it's more clear or more like illustrated for you, right? So imagine you are transitioning to the life that you want to, where let's say that you really want to be living the life you want to making the impact you want to feel accomplished, to feel successful. At the same time, you also uh, have the private life, the personal life you want to. You're creating your family, you're having your children. If you're in that, if you want to have children, right? So imagine that you are having all of those as part of your transitioning. That's the goal, basically. And then imagine approaching that goal not from the perspective of, oh my God, how am I going to make it work? Whether it will work, whether this is how I can do it, or whether I can ever do it. Instead of doing all of those approaches that we often tend to do, what if you approached it with, it is done? It is as good as done. And then from that calm energy, you started approaching and planning out all the things and doing all the things and getting things done. How would that be different, right? So that's the concept that I want to talk about. And this is the concept that I have actually heard first from Boss. So I want to give a credit to her. What I was really thinking about it in my own life and also in the life of many of my clients, what I think that approach could do is it could reduce a lot of the noise, a lot of the self-doubt, a lot of the questioning, a lot of the second guessing about ourselves or about our goals or about everything, but instead so much more focusing on how are we getting those things done and what are the ways we're going to do that and who are we going to be in the process who does those things, and that approach could help us a lot about it because otherwise if we're not approaching it from it is done, if we're approaching it from oh my god whether it will work, how it will work, or are we really cut out for it, are we really capable of it, if we're staying in that we just keep, I feel, growing and growing and making things more of what we don't want to have and keep digging and digging and digging. Instead, going to the other side of this is what we're doing, this is how are we going to try it out. There are so many things that are unclear or unknown, but we're willing to find it out because we really believe in ourselves and our dreams that it is done. It's possible. It's going to happen. I may not know how exactly it's going to happen, but it is going to happen. And here are the ways that I'm going to try it out and make things work. And this is the concept that I want you to try it. Now, in order to do that, though, I would love for you to, even before you start anything, I would love for you to do two tables, basically, right? So one is where you are the person who's approaching it currently with the ways of doubting, with the ways of questioning things, with the way of is it really going to work, how it's going to work, and all the fears and all the things. So that's the current version of how you're doing it, I'm assuming, right? So that's how you're approaching it now and see what the results you have currently. Or in other words, what you're taking more time about thinking or believing, because, for instance, some of my clients have difficulty in believing that all of those things are possible altogether because of the belief that we can't have all things going well at the same time, right? So I think many of us have this feeling of we can't be too happy, or we can't really have all the things figured out, or we can't have it all, basically. And because of that belief, we always believe like we can be good at one thing, but we can't really be good at something else. And therefore, we just keep like fighting in that reality, or keep creating that reality. And that will be one column that you will be looking at. And the other column is where you approach your goal from this feeling, from this belief of it is done. It is as good as done. And let me just figure out how I have made it done. How would that be different? And you can compare the two. And then once you compare the two of how are we, so when you're thinking that it's done, that you're the person who can make it done, or who can make it work, who can make this happen, if you're the person who is doing that, then what are the ways you're thinking about yourself and your abilities? What are the feelings you're having? And what are the actions you're taking? And what kind of results you're creating? And if we focus more of our like brain energy and power on this, it is done. And here are the ways I'm going to make things happen. Then we are so much more productive, I feel, and so much more getting good at believing that it is done, believing that we are the person who can make things done, or who can make this work, and then creating the results that you want to. So to give you the analogy that I thought was so fun to think about is, think of yourself as a president or a prime minister, whoever that is highest in your country's political system, or the political system that you respect, where the highest figure, right? So, or the king or the queen, or whoever is like the highest political authority for you, or the highest people's authority for you. Imagine that person, you being that person, and imagine you having lots of different people around you doing different things for you, right? So I imagine, I have of course no clue, but I imagine they have a personal assistant, right? Let's imagine this, and the personal assistant comes and asks like what to do, and then you just say like, I want this, right? And then the personal assistant saying, consider it done, right? I think I'm thinking of this movie that, what was it called? Love Actually, right? So the movie Love Actually used to be my favorite at some point in my life, not anymore, but back in the day when I watched it, I forgot the prime minister's, the actor's name, but anyway, so he comes as a prime minister, and then the personal assistant uh, comes over, and one of the occasions he says that he's comments something about this lady who brings tea, basically, and then this personal assistant says, consider it done, right? And then the problem solved, of course not in the best way probably, but anyway, the problem solved. But you know, the analogy that I'm getting you is, imagine if you are your own president, right? Or if you thought of yourself so powerful, if you thought of yourself so resourceful, if you thought of yourself in the highest possible light, and also you told yourself, if you want this, it will be done. If this is your desire, it will be done, right? Imagine yourself in that position for yourself, not of course in this like power abusive ways and all the things that we hate about political systems, right? That's not what I'm talking about, but I just want you to have the analogy for yourself to think about you being that person who considers your desires so seriously, you being that person who believes in your abilities so much, so deeply, that if you say, this is my desire, this is what I want, then you also tell yourself that it's done. then we just get to work to make things done instead of keep questioning, keep asking, keep wondering about, keep delaying, keep procrastinating, keep just not believing basically in all the things, and then just trying to get yourself to believe to certain things and then start incremental changes. And I'm not saying there's something wrong with incremental change, and absolutely that if that works for you, please continue doing that. But I really want to introduce to you another perspective, another paradigm shift for you to think about in terms of if you just dropped all of those second guessings and doubts and overthinking and all the things, and you just went to the part of imagining what would you what would it be like for you to approach your goals from this perspective of it is done. I'm the person who's going to make it done. I know how to make things done. I know how to create, or I know how to figure things out. I know how to create the results that I really desire and consider it done. And then start working on figuring things out and then getting to the goal. And I love that idea. And the version that I use a lot in my own life is I always think of myself as the person who deeply honors my own desires and my decisions, and therefore make those decisions happen. And I also truly, deeply honor the desires of my clients and their decisions and their trust. And I help them also create those results. And whenever I think of that myself being the person who really honors my decisions, really honors my desires, and and as soon as I hear them, as soon as I realize them, then I just allow myself to entertain this idea of what if it's done? How would I think? What would I think? How would I think about myself? And how would I feel about myself? And then what are the things I would be doing? And then start exploring and start doing and putting myself in that position of being the person who gets things done. And then it makes things so much more easier, so much more calmer, so much more enjoyable to do, and so much more curiosity as to how to do that, how to be that person who makes things done and goes and gets it done. Then I just love that image of myself being that person. And then it just gives me even more motivation to go and do more of the things, to go and more of the things in the direction of what I want to. So that's why I would love for you to use this tool or to use this concept approach as a tool for yourself to always bring yourself to how would you be thinking? How would you be feeling? How would you be acting? How would you be creating the results that you want when you really believe that this thing is done, or you're the person who gets things done exactly the way that you want it because you respect yourself, you honor yourself, you honor your every desire so seriously, like the president, right? Like the personal assistants would respect the desires and wants and plans of the president. If you treated yourself that way, then how would you create the results you want? And what are the ways you would do that? And I think that's an amazing ways to explore it and also expand your mind of how else you could think about yourself and your abilities and your power within to create the results you want instead of focusing on lots of second guessing, lots of doubts, or lots of keep questioning or keep trying to believe, and shift yourself to the I'm the person who gets things done, and this is how it's done. Okay, my dears, if you want to get coaching on this and transitioning to this type of personality who wants and does get things done in the way that you desire, then absolutely you should come coach with me. I would love to coach you. Until then, stay safe, stay well, and explore this version of yourself who is just so amazing and gets things done just the way you want to.